Hi guys, I'm back. You know what that means? No kids in the house. So thought I'd take this opportunity to make another YouTube video. If you haven't seen my past ones, my name is Karen. I've lost 110, well now 111 pounds since January of 2015, and something that I get asked a lot about is loose skin. This was a very big fear of mine when I was first starting my journey, or even before, when I was just thinking, oh, I have so much weight to lose. What would my body actually look like if I lost this weight? Would it be better? Would it be worse? Would I be stuck with all this extra skin? It's scary. The fear of the unknown is very real when it comes to weight loss, and especially large amounts of weight loss. So I'm making this video to try and ease some fears and encourage some people to start, because having loose skin is not as bad as being obese. For me, all of this, of course, they're my videos, they're my opinions, you know, it's what's happened to me. It doesn't necessarily mean it's what will happen to you or what will not be happening to you, but I'm just trying to share, like I said, in hopes to encourage and to ease some fears. So 111 pounds down. Let's start with where I'm at. So right now I have arms that are not bad at all, like very little, no real loose skin, especially when you flex the gains, which I'll get into why you should build muscle as you lose fat to help with loosening skin. So basically nothing on my arms at all. Not self-conscious of my arms at all. Used to be one of my biggest insecurities. I used to cover them up all the time. I had a special jacket made for my wedding so I wouldn't have to look at them. Just hated them. Now I love them, and like I said, no loose skin. So moving on from there, the next point would be my belly, and this is where I would say that I have had the most loose skin. It isn't tight, okay? It's not tight skin, like I can pull it. I do have still some belly fat actually left in there, so I don't really know if I consider this loose skin because it's not all skin. There's definitely fat still left in there. However, you can see it doesn't hang down. I don't have an actual panis. I really do feel like I can lose a little bit what's left in here. It'll take some time. I do have, obviously, like a crinkle right here, which is probably the thing that I hate the most. It's just a stretch mark. It was a really deep stretch mark, and it's come back together, because the stretch mark is when your skin has ripped. And now my skin is not filled out, and so the rip is coming back together, but it's not going to magically like glue itself back together or mend itself. So I have that, and I also have a little bit of what I like to call the sad belly button going on, but not that bad. I still I try and train abs like in core and all of that stuff in hopes that one day when my body fat percent actually gets low enough, might be able to see something through there. But in the meantime, so this is that. When I actually wear shorts, like let's just look at this real quick. You can't tell. You can't tell a damn thing. I like to wear crop tops and sports bras. I post pictures of myself in them all over IG. If you're not following me on there, WonderWoman.fit. I do a lot of before and after comparisons. And yeah, I'm not afraid to show my stomach. Yes, I have stretch marks as a result of being overweight, losing weight, but also I've been pregnant 2 times. Like, what pregnant lady doesn't end up with stretch marks? Some, but not me. I had stretch marks from both weight gain and then pregnancies. So subsequently, I'm left with some stretch marks. Even at the top here, I do have some light ones. I don't know if you can, hopefully you can see it. But they are fading like over time. Also, I've been noticing this past summer with like tanning and stuff makes them less intense, less noticeable. So there's that. And then the last thing that I would say most people probably fear loose skin is going to be inner thighs. So I have held a lot of weight in my legs over the years. As you can see, there's still some residual fat pockets, but no like loose or hanging skin. It's tightened up extremely well. I'm extremely happy with that. So overall, when people ask me, do you have loose skin? My response is usually slightly. Because while I know that my skin is not as tight as like somebody who's been fit all of their life and never put their skin through expanding, stretching, and then coming back together, I know it's not going to be as tight and elastic as those people's skin. However, when I think about myself and I look at myself in comparison to some other people, I don't feel like I have loose skin. You might feel like I have loose skin. You might feel like my body's disgusting. You're not me. I don't really give a crap what you think about my body. I'm just trying to show you that after 111 pounds lost, that's all the loose skin I'm left with. So let's talk about some factors of what can lead to the severity of your loose skin, or what can determine the severity of your loose skin. First of all, how quick did you put on the weight? Was it, within a period of a year, and then you're thinking about losing the weight? Is it been over a month? Has it been over 20 years? So the reason that I say how quickly you've gained the weight, because did your body basically have time to slowly stretch and adapt, or did it go all at once? So that'll be, a factor. Which one's better or worse? I personally would think, and my experience is, the longer that you've taken to put on the weight, the more adapted your skin has become, the less likely it's torn, like the less stretch marks, and the more ability it'll have to snap back. However, if you've had the weight on for your whole life, or for, let's say, in excess of like 5 years, your skin is going to be looser than somebody that had only been overweight for a period of, like, let's say, a year or two from like pregnancy or something. Here's why. Even though maybe their skin expanded and stretched more rapidly, it didn't have a lot of time to stay there and get used to it. So if you think about like when you blow up a balloon, if you blow up into a balloon quickly, it'll expand quickly, and then it'll shrink back to pretty much the exact same shape that it was, slightly larger, slightly stretched out. If you blow up a balloon and let it stay there and come back 2 days later and let the air out, it is back to its original shape, but it is not as come together. It is like wrinkly a little bit. It will be stretched out. It's been holding that expanded position. It will be stretched out just like your skin. Now, so having said all of that, and then talking about my own personal journey or whatever, I was always a very slender kid, like very, very small until I hit puberty around 13, and I started to gain fat, not like excessive amounts. I wasn't necessarily like overweight, but let's say my weight jumped from like 120 to 150 from the beginning of high school to the end of high school. Then in college, and when I met my first husband, and when I started working in a pizza place, and just generally being very unhealthy, I went from about 150 to about like 190 or so, and that is pretty much where I stayed and maintained for about 5 to 6 years. Then after that is when I got pregnant, and then I kind of, I let myself go pretty much. And that's where I got to my highest weight. And I was at 233 is my highest known weight, the highest weight I ever saw on the scale. Because after you see a number that's super shocking on the scale, sometimes you stop weighing yourself, which is what I did. So 233, my highest known weight. And I probably stayed at that weight for a good year and a half post baby number 2. So I wasn't in the morbidly obese state for a very long time. But I did gain that initial weight fairly gradually. I went from 120 at 13, beginning of high school, to 190 when I was 23. So over 10 years, I gained 70 pounds, which is a lot. I mean, 70 pounds is a lot, but it's over 10 years. So I feel like that is part of why my skin was able to recover so well. Also, because like I said, when I first started my journey, I was pretty nervous about loose skin. I researched and tried to do some things that I thought might help me. Now, whether it has or hasn't, I don't really know, because I don't have like my exact self to compare it to, like as if Karen number 2 were standing here and she didn't do it, like, and let's see how she looks. I don't know, but I will tell you what I did. So first, I drank a shit ton of water, because your cells are made out of water. Cells are in your skin. Your skin is holds water on its own anyway, and it just helps to make everything more moisturized, fluid, elastic, which is what we're going for here. We want it to be able to stretch and then come back. So I drank a shit ton of water. I also went and got some vitamin E oil, like capsules. They're like this big, so you probably could like eat them, but that's not what I did. I took a little safety pin, I'd pop them, and this thick, gooey gel would come out, and then I would take that and I would rub it on my hands, and I would rub it all over my stomach, on my arms, on my legs, wherever I was afraid that I was going to get the loose skin, which is also, I feel like, helped with stretch marks as well, just because moisturizing your skin and taking care of it will help with kind of all of its overall health. So started rubbing vitamin E oil on my skin. I've also heard really great things about using coconut oil. It also smells better than vitamin E oil. Just like cooking coconut oil, straight up lather it on. Another great thing that I started using a little bit after the vitamin E oil is lanolin. So lanolin, if you're a chick that's had kids, you know what I'm talking about. It's actually for sore, cracked, and dry nipples. Nipple skin is going to be one of the most sensitive and thin skins on your entire body. So this cream, gel cream thing, is incredibly moisturizing and thick, and it just feels good. So I started using that on my stomach, my arms, my inner thighs. Again, same places that I had stretch marks, same places that I was just fearing that I would end up with the loose skin. So I personally did vitamin E and lanolin. You can find lanolin at Target, Walmart, anywhere like that on the baby care aisle. Another alternative to lanolin, if you're like just kind of weirded out by buying like nipple cream, Aquaphor is a great alternative to that. You can also use it for the same thing like Nipple Wise, but it's not necessarily like marketed for that. But it's, again, like a really thick kind of creamy gel thing. So what you're going for is something that's going to be thick, that'll stick to your skin, and that'll absorb. And I would recommend doing any of this kind of stuff before you go to bed and wearing like crappy pajamas or whatever that you don't mind getting like greasy stains on or whatever, because that can definitely happen. Okay, so water, and then hydrating your skin from the outside too with creams, oils, or like lotion, even like a really thick body butter, anything like that is going to be more helpful than nothing at all, right? So I did that. Let's see. I think those are pretty much my two like most direct how I like attacked the idea of having loose skin, except for my last thing that is lift heavy. Dude, don't be afraid to lift heavy weights, especially if you're a female. I'm talking straight to you. Do not be afraid to lift heavy. And by lift heavy, what I mean is instead of picking up a 2-pound dumbbell, pick up a 20-pound dumbbell, pick up a 15-pound dumbbell, whatever you can handle. But seriously, if it doesn't weigh more than your purse, it's not going to do anything to you. Anything to you. So I started lifting weights when I was down about 80 pounds. It was last September. So it's been like nine, almost 10 months of lifting, and lifting heavy and lifting consistently. And I honestly feel like that has really helped with the loose skin for 2 reasons. When you're working out, and you're just moving your skin in different ways, it's just going to basically, your body is so adaptable, right? So if your skin is moving in all these different ways, stretching, like, you know, when you're just doing different movements, stretching in different ways, it's having to adapt to that. And so how can I really like explain this? There's some science behind it, but basically the more movement, like old cells are brushed off, new cells are recreated. You want new cells. You don't want the old stretched out cells. You want the new cells. So there's that. There's also the fact that loose skin comes from that there used to be a lot of something there, aka body fat, and now there's not. So how about instead of just losing the body fat, we add muscle. So there's still something in there that's filling up that space. So you go from being jiggly to being buff. I mean, maybe my muscles are too much muscles for you. Maybe it's not enough muscles for you. I mean, all these women are just like, I just want to be toned. But like, that's not a thing. That's not a fucking thing. Excuse me. So anyway, so lift heavy. Don't be afraid of that. Like I said, I waited until I was about 80 pounds down for a few reasons, but mostly because intimidation. Don't let that happen to you. So lift heavy. Other than that, I really just want to emphasize the fact that even if you do end up with a good amount of loose skin, you'll still look good in clothes. Like you might be upset with how you look like naked in the mirror, but the general world, the population, the public isn't seeing you walking around stark naked. They are seeing you walk around in clothes. And in clothes, it's easy enough to tuck in that panis. The panis is if you do have a lot of excess skin on your belly, it's the overhanging flap. So easy enough to tuck in the panis, to choose to wear slightly longer shorts to cover up your inner thighs. I mean, pretty much the same like tricks that we all use when we're fat, but are ineffective because you can't cover fat with clothes. You just are in bigger clothes. You can cover loose skin with clothes. You can choose to wear, a t-shirt or not show your belly off in a crop top. You can make those choices and you'll still appear to be extremely thin because you still will have lost a bunch of weight, like regardless of what your actual skin looks like under those clothes. These general motherfuckers can't tell. Only you can tell when you're at home naked in the mirror. So, would you rather be fat in public and fat naked for yourself, or would you rather be thin in public and maybe have some loose skin naked? I mean, that's just logic. That's just my logic. So, anyway, it's a little bit of a rant. And the last part of this that I want to talk about is loose skin surgery. So that was one of my big things that I also looked into before I lost the weight. I remember having discussions with my husband, like if I lost weight and I ended up hating my body, would we be able to make this work? What would happen? How would we go about this? And I did some research, and basically what I found out was it is extremely hard to get an insurance company to pay for this type of surgery. You have to have about a year's worth of documented doctor's visits, trying other methods to get your skin healthy or back in order. You have to show that you've had like lesions, almost like bed sores, or like where your skin will tear that can cause like an infection or bacteria, something like that. And also, especially if we're talking about, and most people are going to be talking about like their stomach and removing the panis. Like I said, the overhang, the flap of loose skin, the biggest fear in everybody's mind, that actually has to hang down past your pubic bone 3 inches. So just think about that. For me, that would be if I had a panis hanging to here. This is my belly button right here. This is where the bottom of my tummy is right now. So from here to here. So what is that? 5 inches, 6 inches total panis flap. So that's pretty extreme. If you have that going on, that's pretty extreme. Not everybody with loose skin will have that extreme of a flap left over, or whatever, however you want to say it. So there's definitely certain requirements that go into being able to have an insurance company pay for excess skin removal surgeries. So if you're going to pay for it on your own, because I also looked into that, it's obviously going to vary from doctor to doctor and which procedure, like a tummy tuck is just getting rid of this versus a lower body lift would be getting rid of this and then basically pulling your legs up, and then a diamond shape out of your back that pulls the back up. I looked into all of this. You should look into it too. Basically, excess skin removal should only be in extreme cases because it is surgery. And that's how I feel about that. I don't need it. Like I said, I'm really hoping I can still get rid of some of this belly fat on the very bottom of my belly. But if I don't, I'm actually really okay with where my body is. Like I said, I post pictures in crop tops. I don't give a fuck. I walked around all day at Six Flags Raging Water like 2 weeks ago in a 2-piece. Huge non-scale victory. I don't give a fuck. I have worked so hard for this body, and if you don't want to look at it, cool. And if you do, cool. I don't care. My body, my rules, my choice. And if I want to wear a fucking 2-piece, I will. So I did. So other than that, like I said, I'm really happy where my body is, and I just want to really encourage people to go ahead and start the weight loss journey. Don't let loose skin hinder you. Don't let the fear control you. Honestly, it is probably going to be only a fraction of what you are thinking it is going to be. It is not going to be as bad as you imagine. Very, very rarely things are as bad as we imagine, right? So we're always like worst case scenarios in our head, okay? So, yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much all that I wanted to say about that. Oh, the last thing that I wanted to say, because it kind of relates to surgeries. So I would never need to or want to get excess skin removal surgery, but the type of surgery that I now want to get, breast augmentation surgery. So one of the things that I've lost during this weight loss transformation has been my boobs. So I used to be a double D, like a 42 double D because, wider around or whatever. And now I am a 32A. I am actually smaller than I was when I was a freshman in high school, and that's fucking sad. And on top of it, let's just think for a second. So I was a 42 double D, and I had kids, so they expanded even further with milk, and then shrunk down, and then shrunk down again some more. Man, I got some sad little flat feet up here. So serious right now. So the thing with working out is I can build up my arms, I can build up my legs, I can even build a butt, which I'm working on, but I can't build boobs. Your girl needs some little titties here. Your girl needs some help. So anyway, that is what I would choose to do if I was going to have surgery. But in the meantime, there's a little thing called padded bras. AKA my best friend. So anyway, like I said, don't let the fear control you. I mean, we're always going to have something to work on. That's the whole point of a fitness journey or a weight loss journey, whatever you want to call it. And I think you kind of realize that part of the way through is that it never really ends. It only changes. Goals change. Where you're at in your progress changes. Priorities change. So it's all good. Just start. Just start. Please.